It's Monday, January 5th. In the headlines, as the new school year reopens, the Education Ministry pledges continued learning despite Hurricane Melissa setbacks. JPS powers 2,000 St. Elizabeth customers using innovative Manatee Island hydro solution. In business news, Jamaica sees economic growth of 5.1%. Regionally, U.S. seizure of Venezuela's president sparks regional concern. And in sports, Montego Bay United returned to top of JPL with 2-1 win over Treasure Beach. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I am Danita Rodney. As schools reopen across Jamaica, the Ministry of Education says learning will continue despite the challenges caused by Hurricane Melissa. In a back-to-school message, the Minister of Education acknowledged the disruption to thousands of students and staff, particularly in Western parishes, but assured parents that no child's academic future will be put at risk. While some schools return fully to face-to-face classes, others will operate under temporary, shared, or blended arrangements as repairs continue, with the government pledging to rebuild stronger, safer, and more resilient education system.
Hello, Jamaica. As we begin this new school term, I want to warmly welcome all our students, teachers, principals, parents, ancillary staff back to school. I know that for many families, this return is not easy. This new term follows one of the most challenging periods in our nation's recent history. Hurricane Melissa hit us hard, especially those in the West. Many schools and the lives of thousands of students and staff were disrupted. This was the biggest shock to our education system that we have seen in decades. But Jamaica, we are resilient people. From day one, our teams across the ministry, our partners, our school leaders, and our communities came together. We worked around the clock to clean up, repair, restore, and most importantly, make sure our students and stakeholders can return to safe learning spaces as quickly as possible. I thank our boards, our principals, our teaching and ancillary staff for their excellent leadership at the school level. Your creativity and your heart have gotten us to this point. And today, I'm so proud to say that many schools across Jamaica will be back in session. Some schools will continue with temporary arrangements while major repairs continue. Some will share spaces with our innovative host schools, and others will use blended approaches. And for a little while longer, learning will continue in these modalities, but no child will have their academic future put at risk because of these challenges that are beyond their control. Beyond temporary solutions, I want everyone to know that we're building back stronger. We're not just restoring what was damaged. How could we do that? We must use this disaster to rethink, redesign, and rebuild an education system that is safer, smarter, and more resilient for the future. The level of damage we experienced just a few months ago should not be experienced again. I cannot wait to see the bright faces of our students back in teaching and learning spaces. Parents, please continue to encourage them. Your support and guidance plays an important role in your child's life. With you behind them, they can do amazing things. So Jamaica, let us step into this new term with hope and our unstoppable Jamaican spirit. Welcome back to school. Join us in rebuilding a stronger, more resilient education system for all. And of course, May God continue to guide and protect all our children and all our educational institutions in this country.
About 2,000 Jamaica Public Service customers in St. Elizabeth are now receiving electricity through an innovative emergency solution as restoration efforts continue following Hurricane Melissa. Power is being supplied from the Magotty Island hydroelectric plant, keeping several communities energized while severely damaged transmission lines across challenging mountainous terrain are being rebuilt. Here's more from the Jamaica Public Service.
You know, we often hear the saying that water is life. But for our customers here in St. Elizabeth, water is now light.
The level of devastation here in St. Elizabeth required, frankly, a different way of thinking and an innovative approach in order for us to restore our valued customers. The reality is the incoming transmission lines, which are the backbone of the system, were severely damaged, and as a result we have our Magotty substation in St. Elizabeth, which is the only one of our 53 substations remaining out of power. As a result, the team came up with a very creative and innovative solution in order to supply more than 2,000 customers in the areas of St. Elizabeth, including the Magotty NWC pump, the Magotty town, and also the Lacovia police station. A hydro plant takes energy from the moving water and utilizes that energy to create renewable electricity by using that energy to spin a turbine that's connected to a generator to supply our customers. We achieved a tremendous milestone whereby as of approximately 2 months after the devastating impact of Category 5 Hurricane Melissa on our nation and our electrical infrastructure, we have achieved 90% of our customers are now being served with electricity. This is not by chance. It is testament to the investments in the grid, the investments in our people, the enhanced preparation, and the great execution of our restoration strategy.
As restoration efforts continue across the island, the Jamaica Public Service has ramped up operations, deploying 175 specialized vehicles, including excavators, diggers, and bucket trucks to support field crews with a particular focus on Western Jamaica. With this latest deployment, the total number of specialized vehicles in operation since Hurricane Melissa struck on October 28, 2025 has risen to 247, significantly boosting the GPS's capacity to complete power restoration safely and efficiently. Speaking at the handover ceremony Friday morning, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness said restoring electricity remains a key pillar of the government's national recovery strategy.
The government's strategy for restoration lies heavily on the restoration of electricity. So we are driving recovery and restoration by driving the recovery of the electricity sector. And you can see that that strategy has been deliberate, it has been instrumental, and the strategy has worked.
Prime Minister Holness also addressed the government's strategic decision to provide a loan to JPS to support restoration efforts.
The decision of the government to facilitate the financing of the JPS to accelerate the recovery of our electricity grid. The decision to lend the JPS $150 million. It has been criticized in quarters for which the criticism is not unexpected. But it is important to position it against other decisions that we have made, which have turned out to be the correct decisions and which has facilitated the building of resilience and the fast recovery of the economy.
He added that while Hurricane Melissa caused widespread damage, it also presented an opportunity to strengthen and improve the island's infrastructure.
every crisis provides us with an opportunity. And the opportunity does not come in just standing up the light pole and making the reconnection to the homes. That's not an opportunity. The opportunity comes when we look at the poles that we are putting up and say, how do we put up stronger poles? When I landed in Black River a few hours after the hurricane, I saw concrete poles broken. How do we put up poles that are category 5 rated? How do we structure the grid such that you can have areas that have their own source and supply? How do we introduce microgrids? How do we put some of our lines underground? A discussion which we have started at the cabinet level with the JPS. The costs have come in. No doubt the costs are high, but sometimes you have to compare high costs with high loss. What is it that we lose by not having resilience in the grid?
The Meteorological Service of Jamaica has extended a flash flood watch for several parishes as unstable weather continues to affect Jamaica. The watch is in effect for St. Mary, Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, and Manchester until 7 a.m. on Tuesday, January 6th. A broad trough across the Central Caribbean is generating light to moderate showers and isolated thunderstorms, mainly across eastern and south central parishes. Satellite imagery and rainfall reports show this activity has persisted overnight and continued into this morning. Given recent heavy rainfall, particularly in eastern parishes, soil remains saturated and even light showers could trigger flash flooding. A flash flood watch means that flash flooding is possible. Residents should take precautions, stay updated, and be ready to act quickly if flooding occurs or a warning is issued. Conditions are also expected to deteriorate near showers and thunderstorms. Fishers and marine operators, especially along the south coast, are urged to exercise caution. The Met Service says it will continue monitoring conditions and provide updates as needed. Time now for the Business Report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing you the development shaping markets, capital access, and business decision-making across Jamaica and the region. Let's get into the stories that matter. After the 2024 Category 3 Hurricane Beryl and before the October 2025 Category 5 Hurricane Melissa, the Jamaican economy grew by 5.1% in the July to September quarter of 2025 compared to the same period in 2024, according to the Statistical Institute of Jamaica. Reflecting a recovery from the economic blows of Hurricane Beryl in July 2024, this increase in output was due to a rise in value added from the goods-producing industries of 10.9% and the services industry of 3.3%. Supreme Ventures has made 2 significant changes to its portfolio of companies. First, Supreme Ventures has announced that initial discussions are underway with a view to offloading Evolve Loan Company's loan portfolio, digital lending solutions, and selected assets to Dollar Financial Services Limited. Established in 2002, Evolve Loan Company has 7 branches in St. Anne's Bay, St. Anne, Mandeville, Manchester, Portmore, St. Catherine, Junction, St. Elizabeth, Concert Spring Road in St. Andrew, and the head office located at 7 Lismore Avenue in Kingston. The second move by Supreme Ventures is for their Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited division, and that company has acquired the SportsMax infrastructure. Supreme Ventures Racing, operators of Caymanas Park Horse Racing Complex, says it will be bringing its broadcast and operation in-house following the cessation of operations by SportsMax, which had provided third-party broadcast services to the entity since 2018. In a statement, the company said the decision came after a review of options following the wind-up of SportsMax operations. For the most recent trading period, the most actively traded securities on the Jamaica Stock Exchange were Kintyre Holdings Jamaica Limited with 4,460,655 units, representing 21.02% of market sales activities. Sagicor Select Funds Limited Manufacturing and Distribution with 2,655,824 units, representing 12.52% of market sales volume. Trans Jamaica Highway Limited with 1,916,037 units, representing 9.03% of market sales activities. Investors' activity remained concentrated in infrastructure, energy, and manufacturing plays, signaling continued interest in dividend-producing and strategic assets. Turning to the foreign exchange market, based on Bank of Jamaica data, Forex traders recorded significant activity with strong demand across major currencies. For the US dollar, trading margins reflected steady liquidity, with the US selling at $159.47 and buying at $157.88. For the Canadian dollar, there was moderate gains supported by $1 transaction spreads. The Canadian dollar sold for $116.36 and was bought for $115.36. For the British pound, there was continued volatility offered by short-term trading opportunities for the banks. The British pound sold for $213.06 and was bought for $210.64. These movements underscore the importance of cash flow timing and currency awareness for businesses managing import costs, debt servicing, or overseas exposure. For the credit report tip of the day, most people are taught to see a credit score as a judgment of past mistakes. Investors see a credit score differently. A strong credit profile is a reset button, one that gives you access to capital, better terms, and the ability to acquire income-producing assets without waiting years to save cash. When you learn how to start fresh with your credit score, debt stops being a burden and starts becoming a strategic tool for ownership, cash flow, and long-term growth. In our Funded and Focused feature, economic pressure is reshaping the role of human resources in real time. Beyond recruitment and retention, HR managers are now navigating increased staff loan requests, payroll advances, and declining productivity as employees struggle to stretch their salaries. When financial stress spills over into the workplace, it becomes a talent management issue, not a personal one. This is the moment for HR leaders to move from reactive support to structured financial wellness solutions that help employees regain control of debt, understand their credit, and better manage their income. And that's today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing clarity to capital, markets, and strategy. Until next time, stay informed, stay intentional, and keep building forward. See you soon.
In regional news, there are growing questions and regional concerns after U.S. forces entered Venezuela over the weekend and seized President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. Both are now in the United States facing narco-terrorism charges in New York. CARICOM leaders have held emergency talks, warning of possible regional instability as the fallout is already being felt in the Caribbean. The details from our news.
There are still many looming questions about the motivation and next steps one day after U.S. forces charged into Venezuela and seized President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. Both are now on U.S. soil facing indictment in the Southern District of New York, accused of narco-terrorism. Calls for answers grow over the legal basis for the operation, along with regional concerns among CARICOM leaders who held emergency discussions Saturday, warning the developments could have serious implications for regional instability. Closer to home, Barbados is already feeling the impact. Prime Minister Mia Mottley confirming flight cancellations, cruise disruptions, and stranded travelers, calling the situation, quote, uncharted territory for small island nations, end quote. The Prime Minister confirming during a live press conference Saturday she has already been in contact with regional leaders as developments in Venezuela continue to unfold. Motley says this is a serious and fluid situation with real implications for air travel and the region, explaining how Barbados is affected.
With the actions taken in Venezuela, a number of disruptions took place, primarily with respect to our airspace, or planes coming from the U.S., I should say. There are 3 major areas in the region, Eastern and Southern Caribbean, and then 1 in Puerto Rico, 4 altogether in the Caribbean, that effectively manage the upper flight space. And Curacao remained closed until just now. Piarco never closed, but we were affected by all U.S. registered flights.
Hotel guests were also impacted and cruise ship passengers.
With respect to the Barbadian mission in Venezuela, I would have spoken to the ambassador about 3:30 this morning, Ambassador Aquinas Clark. Mercifully, the ambassador has a military background and therefore is not phased and is taken control and in charge. There's no evidence or any reports of any injuries to any Barbadians in Venezuela.
In a recent post on X, U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said, in support of the Department of War, the FAA restricted the airspace in the Caribbean and Venezuela to ensure the safety of the fly-in public, adding when appropriate, the airspace restrictions will be lifted. Now, several airlines have since adjusted routes across parts of the Southern Caribbean and near the Venezuelan airspace, prompting regional governments to remain on high alert.
Barbados has the most advanced and comprehensive child protection legislation in the region. Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, Kirk Humphrey, made the announcement on Saturday. CBC News' Trevor Thorpe reports.
The minister expressed concern over a decline in HIV awareness and expressed hope that the new body will help reverse this trend. He said he was pleased with the work done by his ministry and stakeholders, noting that a number of large initiatives were successfully brought to fruition this year.
We also would have proclaimed the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Bill, January 2nd, so that persons with disabilities now have it enshrined in the laws of Barbados for their protection and their well-being and for their advancement. And we also proclaimed the legislation for the Social Empowerment Agency. So as of today, the Welfare Department, the National Assistance Board, the National Disabilities Unit, and the Child Care Board no longer exists. And what we now have is the Social Empowerment Agency, which we will launch officially on Wednesday, the 7th of January.
Minister Humphrey mentioned that more legislation is coming, which will address poverty, and provided additional details.
I trust that with this new organization, we will see a lot more education about a lot of these matters that are important. I think the other thing that I'm waiting on, and we expect to have it this month, would be the new statistics on poverty. We would have done a poverty study, Barbados' first poverty study since 2016-2017. We anticipate that we'll have a new poverty line and a number of persons in Barbados who are below that poverty line, hopefully by the end of this month. I think with the work that the ministry would have done and the country would have done and the Ministry of Finance, I expect that our poverty numbers are lower than they were in 2017, but I have to wait for the official statistics to be able to confirm that.
He says more outreach programs are planned to bring the message of awareness to communities across Barbados.
One of the big things that we do is just going to the people where they are and the communities, and this is exactly what this is. You go to the community to speak about HIV and other issues directly to the people so that they have an understanding of it. And of course, we use this opportunity to do the health testing. We're working with Live Well Clinic, and we're also using it to do free haircuts to encourage young people and men to come. And once you get here, to advance the ideas pertaining to HIV awareness. This would be the 4th or the 5th time that we've done it in this particular community, but it's done all over Barbados at various points. And education has to be spread across the country in a way that reaches people, and I think this is exactly what we're doing here. So I'm very happy with the intervention, and I hope by the end of the day more people are turning out.
The minister emphasized that although science had developed medicines allowing people to live with HIV, the virus is still very much present.
After a year of reforms to address EU, US, and Canadian concerns over citizen by investment programs in St. Kitts and Nevis and other organizations of Eastern Caribbean states, the European Commission is now moving to shut them down, saying the changes do not reduce security risk. More from SKN Newsline.
According to the report, the CBI programs operated by the 5 Eastern Caribbean countries have high application rates and low rejection rates. In addition, it cites concern over what it described as short processing times that raises concern over the adequacy of security and due diligence processes. While recognizing the recent upgrades to the CBI programs in the Eastern Caribbean countries, the European Commission now wants the CBI programs in the Eastern Caribbean to be shut down or lose visa-free access to the Schengen area. Addressing the CBI programs of the Eastern Caribbean, the European Commission's recommendation to the European Parliament is as follows. Quote, the operation of investor citizenship schemes by countries that are visa-free in the European Union constitutes a serious security concern. The operation of a scheme whereby citizenship is granted in exchange for predetermined payments or investments without the person concerned having any genuine link to that third country constitutes a potential ground for the suspension of visa-free travel under the revised visa suspension mechanism. Concerned Eastern Caribbean countries should take all measures necessary for adequate security vetting of applicants pending the discontinuation of those schemes, end quote. The European Commission estimates that around 107,000 passports have been issued by the 5 CBI countries, specifically Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia. SKN Newsline attempted to secure a comment from the minister with responsibility for the St. Kitts and Nevis CBI program, but was unable to make direct contact up to news deadline.
In sports, we kick off with football. Montego Bay United are back on top of the Jamaica Premier League standings after edging Treasure Beach United 2-1 yesterday at the Stead Sports Complex. The win snapped a 2-game losing streak for MBU and lifted them to 29 points, one clear of Racing United, who were held to a scoreless draw by Waterhouse. Waterhouse slipped to 8th on 16 points, while Treasure Beach remained 13th with 12. All 3 goals came in the first half. Dwight Merrick opened the scoring in the 5th minute before DeAndre Brown doubled the lead in the 22nd. Treasure Beach responded in the 37th, with Tommy Lawrence finishing off a neat assist from Daniel Hardy. Despite late pressure from Treasure Beach, Montego Bay United held on for all 3 points, strengthening their title push. Head coach Xavier Gilbert praised his team's strong first-half performance, but admitted they lost focus after the break, allowing Treasure Beach back into the contest. Meanwhile, Treasure Beach coach Kamar Ricketts said his team played well overall, but paid the price for a slow start and will be looking to tighten their defense going forward. And that's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.